Growing up, my parents would often read stories to me before bed. Some were filled with heroes saving princesses, while others were painted with vivid pictures of the Wild West. But one story that was always my favorite was The Tortoise and the Hare. This story follows a race between a fast, arrogant rabbit, the hare, and a slow, wise turtle, the tortoise. The hare loved to mock the tortoise for his slow pace, so one day, the tortoise challenged him to a race. As soon as a flag was waved, the hare was off, putting a great distance between himself and the tortoise. But that didn't shake the tortoise's determination to keep moving forward. The hare, overconfident, decided to take a nap halfway through. By the time he woke up, the tortoise was nearly at the finish line. In the end, the tortoise won, not because of his speed or his skill, but because of his mindset and perseverance. Hello, my name is Aubrie McEndoo, and I'm honored to serve as your state FFA reporter. Welcome to Oklahoma FFA's Leadership on Demand. While The Tortoise and the Hare is a children's story, its lessons resonate deeply in our everyday lives. Slow and steady wins the race, and don't judge a book by its cover are lessons we all know. But the main takeaway for me is this: our actions and words hold incredible power. What we say and do affects others far more than we often realize. A book that perfectly captures this idea is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Written in 1936, its teachings on leadership and building relationships remains just as relevant today, 88 years later. Why? Because it offers timeless, practical advice on how to connect with others and create positive influence. Carnegie outlines several principles that, when followed, help us grow as leaders and communicators. Let's dive into two of those principles. Principle number 1, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Too often, we are like the hare, quick to blame others without taking a moment to look at ourselves and make a change. One of my favorite quotes from Dale Carnegie that captures this idea is, "Any fool can criticize, condemn, and complain, and most fools do. But it takes character and self-control to be understanding and forgiving." This principle also applies to how we treat ourselves. How many times have you criticized yourself before giving yourself the chance to make a positive change? I remember days spent working with my steers or preparing for speeches, and I'd be quick to criticize myself instead of being patient and persistent. If I had allowed myself more room for growth, I could have accomplished so much more, so much sooner. Principle number 2, give honest and sincere appreciation. It is easy to see people, but understanding them is the hard part. The real secret to dealing with people is simply choosing to be kind. In chapter 2 of his book, Carnegie talks about being genuine in our words, avoiding flattery or criticism. He writes, "Be hearty in your approbation and lavish in your praise, and people will cherish your words and treasure them and repeat them over a lifetime. Repeat them years after you have forgotten them." There are many people who influence our lives, and I've often found myself taking their support for granted. My parents, for example, are the greatest supporters, but I've caught myself expecting them to always be there without showing enough gratitude. I have made it my personal goal to genuinely appreciate their support, knowing I wouldn't be the same person I am today without them. Applying these two principles might feel challenging at first, but incorporating them into your life will make building relationships easier and more meaningful. When we stop complaining, condemning, or criticizing those around us, it changes our view and helps us develop greater empathy. And when we choose to give honest and sincere appreciation instead of flattery or criticism, we see far more positive results in our friendships, our communities, and in ourselves. Thank you so much for joining me today. Keep growing, keep leading, and remember, the small changes we make today can have a big impact tomorrow. Oh, and don't forget to add How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie to your reading list. We'll see you next time.